Hello class 9 students, I am back with the chapter called Exploration as I promised. So this is the class 9 science chapter, a new syllabus, a new chapter for CBSE students. So I am going to explain this chapter in one shot. All concepts will become very clear. Okay, I know you all have got so many doubts about this chapter, like what to study, how to study and how to understand. Is that so? If that is your problem, yes, mention S in the comment section. Okay, so watch this video till the end without skipping and you will have amazing learning experience. Okay, so after watching this video, all your doubts, all your confusions will become very clear. Okay, so they all will go away and you will actually come to know how to study science and how to study this chapter, what to study and how to prepare. Guys, if you are a teacher watching this chapter, just follow my method, copy my methodology, understand and represent the same in your classroom. Okay, and for all the teachers out there, I have a free masterclass on every Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. Register through the link that is given in the description as well as in the comment section. Don't forget, if you want to update your teaching skills, if you want to learn AI and make your lessons most attractive and engaging, if you want to improve your communication, then you have to attend this webinar for sure. Okay, pass it to all the teachers that you know. Coming back to the chapter, yes, exploration. The name itself says, okay, so the whole chapter is about how to explore the concepts of science. What do you mean by exploration? Digging deep. Okay, yes, say for example, if you want to understand something, if you are very curious on something, what you guys will do? You will study in a deeper way. Yes or no? So you will dig deep. That is what we mean by exploration. Okay, so the author says, the thinkers and educationists have designed this chapter to tell you how to understand science. How scientists have discovered so many things in the world. All of that, the thinkers and educationists wanted to tell you. So those are the things they are telling you through this chapter. Okay, so before we begin the concepts, I want you to subscribe the channel. I want you to share this video to all the friends you know. Okay, because you guys are helping homeschool to reach 500k milestone. Okay, I want you also to be a part of achieving that milestone. What do you say? Will you help homeschool to achieve 500k subscriber milestone? If that's so, okay, so mention that in the comment section. Mention 500k soon in the comment section. Okay, super. So guys, let me first tell you what are the subheadings that you are supposed to study in a chapter. Okay, so before you study anything, guys, you just make that chapter into different parts. Okay, so make that chapter into different subheadings and headings and then study, it becomes easy. Okay, so I do understand the textbooks are like so very different. Yes, especially the new textbooks with so many activities, with so many realistic examples. Actually, that is very good, guys. Okay, but how you have to study is just make it into different sections, make it into different headings and then approach the concept. Okay, so then you get then you will get clarity on all the concepts. So now I will list out what are the subheadings you are supposed to study in this particular chapter. Okay, yes guys. So look at here, I have divided the entire chapter into 10 small subheadings. Though you won't find these subheadings as it is in the textbook, but try to understand the chapter in the form of these subheadings. Okay, so that you will get a clarity what actually is there in a chapter, what actually you need to understand, what can be the questions that a teacher can ask from the chapter and etc. Okay, so let me first read out all the subheadings. Take a screenshot, guys. This is very important. So first you are going to understand what actually we mean by exploration. Okay, so science is a exploration. It is like digging out. It is like finding out something which is very new. Okay, so that is what we mean by exploration. So the first heading is understand the meaning of the word exploration here. Okay, and later you have some models in science called scientific models. So let us understand what actually we mean by scientific models. Okay, so how should we understand science in the form of a models? All of that you will have to study. And next, you know, science has got some language. Okay, so in the normal terms we say the word called work. What do you mean by work for a normal person, for a layman language? You know, I am teaching this chapter, that is a work I am doing. I will write something on a board, that is the work I am doing. Yes or no? You are writing in your notebook whatever I say, that is the work you are doing. So for a normal layman person, work is something that he is doing, but according to science work is different. Okay, so work has got a definition here, work has got a formula here. Okay, so work is nothing but a pressure into volume. That can be said as a work many a times. Okay, pressure, volume, work we say, right? So you have a hidden meaning for different words. Okay, in case of science, so science has got some special language. Okay, you need to understand the meanings of those terms and you need to understand the meaning of that scientific language. Okay, so all that I will explain in the third heading. And science and mathematics are like the co-sisters. Okay, so science and mathematics are like the sister subjects. So actually all subjects are based on mathematics only. Okay, so the language of universe itself is mathematics, yeah. Okay, so without math science does not exist. So mathematics is the fundamental thing to understand anything in science. Okay, so those aspects we will discuss under a fourth heading. Now the fifth one is, in science you have something called laws, theories and principles. So I'll give you what actually we mean by a law, what actually we mean by principles and what actually we mean by theories. Okay, and then prediction and testable questions. So science is all about questioning why, how, why, what. You know, you should always put these questions when you study scientific concepts. How, why, what. Okay, right? This is very important, guys, right? All those aspects we will study under that heading. And then science corrects itself. Okay, if there is a mistake in scientific concepts, that gets corrected by the next coming theory. Okay, how is that possible? All of that I will discuss under that heading. Okay, and later estimation and rough reasoning. So science is all about estimating. I'll tell the meaning of the word estimation and all of that we will discuss with examples. And then branches. Science has got different branches. So what are the different branches of science and etc. we will understand under this heading. And ultimately scientific thinking in daily life. So there are so many things that happen in our day-to-day life. No, how to think all of them in a scientific way. Okay, so without superstitious feelings and thoughts, how to think many things in a scientific way. All of that we will explore under 10th heading. So I made entire chapter into 10 major headings, guys. Okay, so we will understand the entire chapter heading by heading in the form of 10 major concepts. Okay, so hope you understood how to study this chapter. Just study this chapter in the form of 10 small headings. Okay, yes. So shall we begin? If you are ready with your notebook and pen, if you are curious, okay, then just type ready in the comment section. Like I said, what is the first concept? First concept is all about understanding the word called exploration. So what do you mean by exploration here? Science is not only about what we know, it is about how we know it. Okay, say for example, sky is blue, we know it. Okay, how does the sky look like? It looks like blue in color. But how it is blue in color? Why it is blue in color? Okay, plants look in green color, the leaves look in green color, we know. What is the tree looking like? Yes, green color. But how exactly the leaves are looking like green in color? Why not the leaves have yellow color? Why not the leaves have blue color? Why it is specifically in green color? How? Okay, so for everything that you see in the nature, we know, okay, what it is. A tree, how is it looking? Green, we know what, but we don't know how. Okay, so how you have to cultivate the scientific mind? By questioning how, why it is looking like green only, why the sky is looking in blue color only. Okay, so that is what we call exploring. Okay, so what is exploration? Exploration is all about asking how. Okay, asking why. Exploration is all about digging deep into the topic, digging deep into a topic. Okay, so this is what we call as exploration. Okay, so in your test or in exam, if somebody asks you what is exploration, you can give this as an answer. Exploration is all about asking a question and finding the answer by digging deep into the concept. Okay, that's all. That is exploration. Okay, so how do you dig deep into the concepts? How do you find about a scientific concept? It is by magnifying glass and by compass. So what actually is the meaning of magnifying glass here? Okay, so how do you find scientific concepts and scientific answers? It is by magnifying glass, I said. Why am I telling it as magnifying glass? What does the magnifying glass indicates? Magnifying glass indicates observation. What they meant to tell you is magnifying glass means, hold a magnifying glass and find out means there is a hidden meaning behind that. What is a hidden meaning? The hidden meaning is very simple. Okay, hidden meaning is you can find out anything in science by careful observation. So this magnifying glass actually represents careful observation. Okay, so very important, right? So by observing carefully, you can find out the answer why, right? So that is what the meaning of magnifying glass. And then what does the compass represent? Compass represents the direction. Compass represents the direction. You should have a clear path. Okay, so you should have a clear path to find the answers in science. To find the answer, say for example, sky is blue. Okay, so you should carefully observe how the color is changing in the sky, and then you should have a clear path, clear steps. Okay, path in the sense steps. You should follow a clear steps to find out why the sky is looking in blue color. Okay, so here the hidden meaning of magnifying glass means magnifying glass represents clearly you first observe about a scientific phenomena, scientific process, and then find out the answer by following a clear path or the clear steps. That is what the compass represent. Okay, right? Yes. So observe world closely, ask questions, test and find out the proof. Evidence means proof, and then come up with the fresh ideas. That is the concept. That is how you will find out something in science. Okay, I hope you understood what is the meaning of magnifying glass and compass here, right? Okay, so now moving ahead. Okay, so that was the first concept is over. We understood what was the meaning of exploration and how to find out answers for scientific processes or the naturally existing things which are there in a nature. Okay, yes. And now, what do you mean by scientific models? Okay, right? So a model is a simplified way of looking at a real system. Okay, see, anything that you want to study in science or anything that you want to find in a science, you should not think too much in your mind, guys. You will go crazy. You should actually think in a very simple way. So one example, I will tell you, the same example is there in a textbook also. Say suppose, so he is a cricketer, right? And this cricketer, see, this cricketer is playing a cricket and he has hit a ball with a bat. Okay, so if you want to find out whether a ball crosses a boundary without touching a ground, how do you find out? Yes, so what is the model you will follow? What is the simplest thing that you will think? Okay, I'll repeat the question once again. Cricketer is hitting a ball with a bat. Okay, and you are supposed to predict, you are supposed to find out whether a ball goes crosses a boundary without touching a ground. Okay, so how you have to think is on what basis you will analyze and on what basis you will predict this, on what basis you will guess this. Yes, you will have to guess this particular thing whether a ball crosses a boundary or not is based on the mass of a ball. Yes, so you will guess whether it crosses a boundary depending on the weight of a ball, depending on the speed with which, okay, depending on the speed with which the batsman is hitting, okay, and also depending on the direction of shot. These are only three things you have to think initially. Yes or no? So what are you going to think to guess whether a ball is crossing a boundary or not? You will have to decide that based on the mass of a ball. You will decide that based on how fast the ball is going, and you can able to guess that depending on in which direction the person or a batsman is hitting that ball. Okay, this much only you should think. You should not think, you should actually ignore what is the brand of a bat, what is the color of a ball, what kind of grass is there on a field. Okay, all of that is not necessary. If you consider these aspects also in deciding this particular point, then your mind will go crazy. You can't able to decide. Okay, so keep it simple. What is necessary at that point of time, that only you should consider. Rest other small things you should neglect in science. That is what we mean by simple scientific model. Okay, so what kind of simple scientific model we follow? Think simple, don't complicatively think by considering everything. Okay, so just if you want to decide whether a ball crosses a boundary or not, just focus on mass of a ball, speed of a ball and direction of a ball. You are not supposed to think about what brand the bat is, what brand the bat he is holding, what color is the ball and how is the grass looking. All of that is none of your business. That will not be helpful in deciding your answer. And beyond that, once you predict these things, what else you can think is of course the air resistance, whether the air is faster or slow in the ground, or what about the spin of a ball, or what about the seam stitching, and all of that you can add later. Okay, so to find out the initial answer, to find out your guess, maximum of your guess, these things are enough. these are not necessary. You should leave what other things are not necessary, and then once you have guessed it properly, then other things can support your guess. Okay, can support your prediction, right? So that is what we mean by simple thinking. So always, if you want to find answers in the scientific phenomenon or processes, simple thinking is very much necessary for science. Okay, so actually indirectly, the chapter will tell you how to study science. Okay, think simple, don't complicate too much in studying science. Okay, right? So beautiful chapter, actually. You should understand the way it should be understood. Okay, so far we studied science by by-hatting some question and answers, by by-hatting some terms, but try to understand science with a curiosity. Okay, this is how actually you have to think about scientific aspects, and this is how you should actually study about science actually. Okay, so this chapter is majorly teaching you how to study science, how to think science, right? Yes, so that is about a simple model, guys. Okay, yes. So now going on to the next concept, science has got its own language. Okay, so there are certain words like work, cell, reaction, force. For a normal person who does not know anything about a science, what does a work mean for a normal person? Doing any activity. Okay, see, I am talking, I am writing, all this is activity. This can be called as a work. Okay, for a normal person. But for a scientific person, okay, for a science student like you, for a science teacher like me, for a scientist who is working on various things, what does the work mean? Work means force into displacement. This is actually a formula for work. There is a different meaning for work in science. All those meanings you should carefully understand, guys. Okay, so for a normal person who does not know any science, for him, what do you mean by a cell? Cell means something that is there inside a phone, he thinks. Yes or no? But actually cell has got the other meaning. Cell is nothing but a basic fundamental unit of life. So cells are something which is there in our body, which are doing lot of work for our life. Okay, cell has got a different meaning. So this is a scientific meaning of a cell. But for a normal person, cell can be a just mobile phone also. Yes or no? People call mobile phones also cell. But for you as a science student, understand the different scientific meanings of these words called cells. Okay, yes. Next, reaction. For a normal person, what do you mean by a reaction? When somebody scolds you, you will react violently. That you will call it as reaction, right? Hey, don't react violently. Hey, don't react softly. Don't react hard. That is what feelings is, what the reactions for a normal person. But what is the scientific meaning in case of science? Reaction means some chemical change, mixing two chemicals, something new will get produced. That is what the reaction in case of science. See, the meaning is entirely different in science. And then force. So for a normal person, what do you mean by force? Strength, isn't it? Hit with a force. Hit the ball with highest force. So it is all about strength for a normal person. But for a science student, for a science teacher, and for a scientist, you know what actually we mean by force? Force is push or pull, we say. This is the definition for force in case of science. Okay, so science has got its own language. Every word, every symbol, and every unit matters a lot. Okay, right? In science, words must be clear and unambiguous. What do you mean by unambiguous? Without any doubt. Okay, so let me just change the color of my pen here. Okay, so unambiguous in the sense without any doubt. Without any doubt. This is what the meaning of unambiguous. Okay, yes. So see, there are so many symbols. For mass we indicate with the letter M. For velocity, velocity means speed. For velocity we indicate with the letter V. Okay, and then for force we indicate with the letter F. For electric current we indicate with the letter I. You know, these are the letters we use in science. So for us, this M, V, F, I are not just alphabets, they have a meaning. Okay, so mass, in shortcut we write it as small m. Speed or velocity, in shortcut we write it as V. Okay, so they are not just alphabets. Everybody comment in the comment section. They are not just alphabets, they have a meaning. Okay, what you have to write in the comment section? They are not just alphabets, they have a meaning. Okay, all of this you need to understand in science. Okay, if you want to study science in a better way, if you want to understand science in a better way. Okay, then moving on to the next concept here. Yes, I told you, no, mathematics and science are like the sisters. Okay, so they are the sisters. Without mathematics there is no science. Okay, so you know what, you can represent so many things in science in the form of mathematical formulas. Okay, right? Say for example, very famous formula is there for force. F is equal to mass into acceleration. See, force is equal to mass into acceleration. Don't worry if you don't understand this word acceleration. Say, look at the formula. Force is some scientific concept. Okay, so that force can be defined, force can be explained in the form of mathematical formulas. Okay, like that, so many scientific concepts are represented, they are expressed in the form of scientific formulas. Okay, so mathematics is actually a language of science, right? So what is important? Mathematics is actually a language of science. Mathematics helps us to relate one term to another term. Okay, so there is a relationship between mass and F. What is the relationship? This is the relationship. Okay, so using mathematics you can relate one concept of science to the other concept of science. Okay, so using mathematics we can able to measure the things. Yes or no? Say for example, if you want to measure the speed, right? So, or if you want to measure the length of something, yes, so when I want to measure this distance from this end to this end, how do? I use mathematics only. No, I will take a scale and I will measure. And what do I write? I might write this as 1 meter, right? So for measurement and all, we take the help of digits, right? So we take the help of units, right? So mathematics plays a major role in understanding scientific concepts. Okay, so that's why math is very, very important. Okay, yes guys, fine. Guys, the next concept, understanding the units, is very, very important here, guys. Okay, so for example, you know, for measuring a weight, okay, for measuring a weight or mass, say you have a different units called kgs are there, pounds are there, grams are there, and etc. Okay, so everybody in the world must follow the same unit. Okay, say if 1 kg was different everywhere, you know, people use different quantities in different countries, isn't it? Say suppose in India, if 1 kg is nothing but 1000 grams, imagine in Europe if 1 kg is 500 grams, it creates lot of confusion, right? For example, one interesting example I will tell you. So imagine there is an aeroplane, okay? Okay, so there is an aeroplane. Aeroplane is traveling in a sky and all of a sudden it got a shortage of fuel. Okay, and it want to stop in some place to refill the fuel. Okay, so imagine aeroplane is about to stop, you know, in 2 different countries. Imagine, okay, say Ireland, Ireland and England. Let us say both places are very near to the aeroplane, suppose. So aeroplane can take a decision of stopping either in Ireland or in England. Imagine in Ireland 1 kg means 1000 grams. But in England, for these England people, imagine if 1 kg means 500 grams. Okay, so when aeroplane lands in England and if it refills a fuel of 1 kg, it is actually only 500 grams. Maybe 500 grams is not sufficient for an aeroplane to fly. Okay, but if it lands in Ireland, if it want to refill the fuel of 1 kg, in Ireland it is more, that is 1 kg is equal to 1000 grams. Okay, so imagine if different countries follows different units to measure these quantities like weight, length and etc. How confusing it is, isn't it? So that is why we have a standard unit system. Okay, everywhere in the world, 1 kg means it is always 1000 grams only. Okay, so one interesting thing that was mentioned in your textbook is, so some aeroplane which ran short of fuel. Okay, because it has refilled its tank in pounds instead of kgs, it seems. Okay, right? So imagine if it refilled its fuel in terms of pounds instead of kgs, you know what, how difficult for the plane, isn't it? So the fuel might be less or the fuel might become too much also, right? So there should be a one standard unit all over the world, especially when you are measuring the physical quantities. Okay, so the issues with units have to be very, very careful in science, guys. Okay, so what units have to be considered, okay, how to convert the units, right? All of that plays a very, very important role in understanding scientific concepts. Okay, so units are very important. Okay, and then what are laws, what are theories and what are principles? You will study so many laws, theories and principles, right? So what is a law? Law is very simple. Law describes a regular pattern in nature. Okay, see for example Newton's laws. What is a Newton's third law? For every action there is a opposite and equal reaction. So this is a pattern. So every time scientists have identified a concept, they have observed for every reaction there is an opposite and equal action. Okay, so that is a pattern. Okay, so the entire universe actually runs on a pattern. Okay, so pattern in the sense what? Are repeated things. Okay, the things will get repeated every now and then, okay, in a particular order. Okay, that is what we call it as a pattern. So anything that explains a pattern is called as a law. Okay, and why that pattern happens? Okay, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, is a concept that is called as a law. Why? What is the reason behind that? Okay, so explaining a pattern in a careful way, explaining a pattern in a very elaborate way, very detailed way, that is what we call it as a theory. Okay, right? Every law is actually derived from a particular theory. Okay, theory, what is a theory? Theory explains a pattern. Theory is the one which actually explains a particular pattern. And what is a law? Law is about a pattern. It describes pattern. What is a pattern? Okay, so in nature, whenever there is a scientific incident, okay, identifying what is pattern is what we call it as a law. Okay, why that pattern is happening, okay, explaining that pattern in a detailed way is what we call it as a theory. Okay, and principle is nothing but rules. There are certain rules that we are supposed to follow in any concept. Those rules are called as principle. So there is a rule in science which says that energy is always conserved. Okay, so you cannot create extra energy, you cannot destroy the energy. Okay, so energy can only be transformed from one form to another form. That is a rule, universal rule. Okay, so that fixed rule are called as, fixed rules are called as principle. Okay, so hope you understood what is a law. It is a pattern that is identified in the universe, in the nature, is called law. And explanation of that pattern in a detailed way is called as a theory. And there are certain fixed rules in the universe or in the nature, they are called as principle. Okay, so hope you understood the difference between law, theory and principle. Okay, so now coming to the next concept of a chapter. The next concept is all about predictions. Science makes lots of predictions. What do you mean by predictions? Predictions are nothing but guesses. So scientific inventions, most of the inventions were on guesses. Scientists have guessed, oh, this could be possible, that could be possible, and all of those guesses have become true. Okay, that is the truth of science. So how do we make guesses? How do we predict something? We predict based on some proof of previous events. Okay, if you want to guess something, there should be a proof, no? So we think of certain proofs. Predictions use known patterns, measurements and models. Okay, so based on certain measurements, based on certain laws, theories and simple models, okay, we start getting proof. Okay, so based on the proof, we will try to guess something and later we will test that guess. Okay, whatever we have guessed, no, so that one we will test by careful observation. Suppose if our guess becomes failure, if our guess is becoming wrong, we will again retry it following some other method. That is how the discoveries and identifications will happen. Okay, interesting, isn't it? So it is all about guessing. Okay, how do we guess? We guess based on the proof. How do we get a proof? How do we get a confirmation or proof? Proof we get based on the laws, based on the measurements, based on the theories and models. Okay, and later we will observe it carefully, and after observation, suppose if it fails, scientists will recheck and they try to do it in the other method. Okay, for example, Thomas Alva Edison has invented electric bulb. We all know. He failed for 999 times. Okay, first time he predicted, he guessed that this would happen based on the proof, based on the observation, he failed. And again, that method he discarded. Okay, he kept it away, that method. He followed second method. Okay, again he followed second method based on a guess. That guess was based on some laws, measurements, observation. Again he failed. So he tried in a third method, again failed. He tried in a fourth method. Like that, every failure will tell you what not to do. I want you to write in the comment section. Every failure will teach you what not to do, what you are not supposed to do. Okay, if you can understand what you are not supposed to do, one fine day what you are trying to guess will become 100% correct. Actually, this is how the scientist will study and they will discover the concepts. Interesting, isn't it? If you found this interesting, type crazy in the chat section. Okay, so science makes lots of predictions. For example, and the predictions have to be very, very accurate. It is based on certain observations and laws. Okay, one example is given in your NCERT textbook, beautiful example. And how do you how do you check whether it will rain or not? Okay, so if the clouds are very dark, if the sky becomes too much dark, what does the people say? People say, oh, it is going to rain today. Okay, but actually if the sky becomes dark, the rain will not come. Actually, you have to predict that based on some more observations. Okay, so you will have to check what is the humidity that is there. Humidity means too much of water vapor in the atmosphere. You feel lot of sweat, isn't it, before the rain comes? That means the climate has become very, very humid. You know, when does the rain happens? When the humidity is at least 85% in the atmosphere. Rain will happen when the wind speed is 20 km/h towards the east. Rain will happen when temperature drops 2 degrees. Okay, right? So last time when humidity was 80%, when the wind speed is this much, when the temperature dropped down, the rain happened. Okay, so now most probably if these are the things happening today, it might rain. This is how the people will predict. Okay, so maybe previously when humidity was this much, speed was this much, temperature was this much, it has rained. Okay, now also, say today also, if I could observe all the three things in the atmosphere with dark clouds, definitely it might rain. That is how the predictions will become accurate. Predictions are always has to be done on certain proof. Say this is the proof. Last time it rained because these things happened. Now also, today also these things are happening, so it might rain. So this is a evidence. So even if you want to guess something, there should be some proof. So proof is very important in designing laws, in identifying something in science. It's very interesting, isn't it? So this is that cloud example that is there in your NCERT. Okay, and then science corrects itself. Like I told you, okay, if one theory fails, there comes another theory that explains the concept. You know what? You all know what do you mean by atom, right? So atom is that smallest thing that is there in every matter. Okay, so you have atoms, I have atoms, this pen has atoms, board has atoms, sky has atoms, everything has atoms. Okay, so scientists wanted to find out how does an atom look like. Okay, initially there came a scientist called Thomson. Okay, so he told atom will look like a watermelon, and later came a scientist Rutherford. Okay, so actually when Thomson said atom looks like watermelon, everybody believed for some days, and after that Rutherford, there is a person called Rutherford. Okay, he said no, atom will not look like a watermelon, it will look like a solar system, he said. For few days people believed this theory had come. Okay, see, this was old theory, failed, but Rutherford corrected it. Okay, later some other person, Bohr has come and he said, no, atom will not look like a solar system. It looks very different. Okay, that means the Rutherford theory was wrong, then Bohr corrected it. Now, the people Heisenberg, later one more scientist called Heisenberg, very interesting person. Okay, Heisenberg said, no, atom will not look like the Bohr said, it looks very different, it is so very complicated, this is how it looks, he said. Okay, so now along with Heisenberg, one more person rectified that. Heisenberg was almost correct, but he had some issues. So some other person called Schrödinger, which you will study in the higher classes, he corrected, and now we all are accepting Heisenberg-Schrödinger model to talk about how atom looks like. Okay, so this was a theory on atom only, this is a theory on atom, this was also theory on atom. So every stage one or the other person redefined that theory, corrected the concept. This is what happens in science. No scientific theory is final forever. So we don't know, tomorrow you might once you might become scientist, once you start studying an atom, you can say, oh, Heisenberg was wrong, Schrödinger was wrong, atom actually looks like this, see, this is the proof. When you say that, your theory will come. Okay, so no theory is permanent in science. It gets refined, it gets corrected, and it gets evolved. Evolved means it gets developed generation by generation. Okay, so that aspect you need to understand clearly, right? Yes. And now scientific thinking in daily life. Okay, so whichever you see, okay, around you, whatever you see around you, you should question yourself, is this really a thing or not? You should not simply believe to whatever people tell you, guys. Okay, you should always put question. For example, at many houses, okay, you tell me answer for this question, if this is true or not. Okay, in many houses during eclipse, during a solar eclipse, people say not to eat any food. Okay, yes, will your mother say that? Will your grandparents say that? Yes, just ask your mothers and grandparents whether we can eat food during solar eclipse or not. Many houses in India says no, we are not supposed to eat food because the food will get poisoned. Okay, so the food will become poison, so you will get some health problem, so you are not supposed to eat any food during a solar eclipse. And we all will agree, okay, Amma told or grandparents told, so we should not eat food. Okay, but a real science student will put a question, why we should not eat? Okay, usually when does the food get spoiled? Okay, when does the food get spoiled? If the temperature of the atmosphere increases drastically, food gets spoiled. During solar eclipse, will the temperature increases? No. Okay, and if there is some chemical reaction happens in a food, then the food will get spoiled. But during solar eclipse, is there a chemical reaction automatically happening inside a food? No. Answer is no for this question. Answer is no for this question. When answer is no, why is the food getting spoiled? Actually, food will not get spoiled. Okay, it is solar eclipse is all about a formation of some shadow. For that, food will not happen. There is no increase of temperature, so food is safe. There is no any chemical reaction happening inside the food, so no problem. You can eat that food during solar eclipse. You can eat food according to science, guys. Okay, so when you keep on asking the questions like why, what, how, then you will find the correct answers, and that is the scientific curiosity that we say. That is what missing in current generation, and you all should develop such kind of scientific curiosity, guys. Okay, yes. So yes, and after that, estimation. So you should estimation is also about a guesswork only. So it is a rough and reasonable answer. Okay, say many a times we don't find exact answer for a particular thing. Many a times the answer is exactly near to the accurate answer. Okay, so it can be near to the exact answer. It might not be actual answer, it can be near to the answer. Okay, that process is what we call it as estimation. Okay, so suppose a person breathes roughly 10,000 liters of air in one day. This is just estimation, not exact answer. Okay, so some people might breathe more than 10,000 liters, or some people might breathe less than 10,000 liter. And how did scientists find out, or how did one found out a person can breathe 10,000 liters of air in one day? It is because of this process. People have followed this process. Okay, so a particular person in 1 minute, how many times he can inhale and exhale? 12 to 15 times. Some people can inhale 12 times per minute, and some people can exhale 15 times. It varies from person to person. Okay, you check yourself. You pause the video, 1 minute time you keep as a timer, and you count your inhalations you count in 1 minute. How many times you will do? Comment that in the comment section. I want you to do this activity here. Take 1 minute of time. Okay, see how many times you are inhaling. Understood my question, no? Okay, so imagine on an average, if you can inhale 12 to 15 breaths per minute. Okay, then this is per minute. In a day, how many breaths it will become? 1440 breaths it will become in a day. In a day, how many times you will inhale? 1440. Okay, and per breath, for each inhalation, how much of air you are taking? 0.5 liters. Now let us do one approximate calculation. Okay, so how much of air you are inhaling per breath? 0.5 liters. Isn't it? How many breaths you are taking per minute? 12 breaths. And in a day, how many minutes is there? 1440. So if you multiply, tell me what is the answer you will get. Comment in the comment section. You will get 8,440 something approximate. See, 8,000 something is near to 10,000, right? So this is how you will get the rough answers always in science here. Okay, so this process of finding rough answers to any concept in science is called estimation, guys. Finding a rough answer. Okay, so that is what is very, very important. So it is one exaggerated example that is given in the NCERT. Say if you take those 10,000 liters of air, how many balloons you can able to fill? You can able to fill so much amount, so many balloons actually, right? So that is one example there. Okay, and then coming to the next concept in chapter, science has got so many branches because science is so vast, isn't it? So if you want to study that, we will carefully divide into different branches and then study. Then science study becomes very, very easy. Okay, so anything relating to life if you want to study, anything relating to living organisms if you want to study, then that branch is called as a biology. Okay, and anything which you want to study about universe, electricity, particles, motion in the sense movement, air, then that branch is called as physics. Okay, anything that you want to study about chemicals, then that branch is called as chemistry. And of course, every branch of science depends on mathematics. Okay, so science has got different branches like biology, physics and chemistry, right? So by studying science in the form of different branches, our study becomes more easy. That is the aspect. So what are the 5 habits of scientific thinking? Very, very important. You all should understand and follow it in a real life. That's very important. Okay, so first you need to observe the things carefully. Okay, so magnifying glass is the evidence. Using magnifying glass, you will observe every small detail, right? So that is how whatever is there in a nature, whatever you look with your eyes in a nature, from your eyes in a nature, you should observe carefully and then you should able to ask good questions. So curiosity should be there enough, and that curiosity you should take it in a proper direction. Only then you will get correct answers for the questions that you ask. Okay, and you should also have a ability to think in a simple way. Okay, understand something by thinking in a simple way. Don't complicate the things, don't add up unnecessary things. Okay, so try to think in a very, very simple way. Okay, and then you find out the proof for the answers that you are getting. So test with the information. So prediction and evidences. Evidence means proof. Prediction means guesses. So your guesses have to be almost correct, and you should have evidence for whatever answer that you are getting, and then stay open. Okay, in case you are finding out something, your idea got failed, then again retry it. You should have that much patience in science, and you should be open to learning. Okay, you should be very, very interested in learning and understanding the things, guys. Okay, so that is all about the chapter. So hope you loved the chapter. This is a pretty interesting chapter. Okay, so don't study this chapter for the sake of marks. Maybe your teacher might not ask too many questions in the test from this chapter, but this chapter is indirectly teaching you how to think in a scientific way, how to study science concepts, and how to be curious, okay, in knowing the answers, and how to ask the right questions, how to guess correctly, how to estimate, right? What is evidence? All of that we have learned, isn't it? So how was the video? Did you learn something? Did you get clarity? Did you get 100% satisfaction? Let me know your learnings. Okay, write your learnings and write your opinion in the comment section in a detailed way. I would love to read all of them. Okay, so hope the video is helpful. Please like the video, subscribe the video. You are the one who is supposed to help the homeschool, right? Okay, it is your homeschool. You have all the rights to help for the homeschool, right? Okay guys, see you in the next video then.